Good morning. My name is Edmund, and I live in Hong Kong. And this is just my video to attempt to explain my carnivore journey, and also reaching out to any particular carnivores in Hong Kong, where I live. So far, I don't know of any, but I'm sure there is. So I'm going to start from about 18 to 24 months ago, where I started, well, today's date is February 2020. So yeah, about 18 months ago, I got into something called intermittent fasting, or IF. It's, no big secret illusion what people do now. It was maybe 3-4 years ago. It's well documented. There's many YouTube channels explaining how you do IF, the different ways of doing IF. There's different extremes. I try the most simple one, most easily adapted one to sort of a normal working life. So where you eat for around 8 hours, or you have an eating window of 8 hours, and then you have a fasting window of around 16. In pretty most normal, basic terms, it's almost like missing breakfast, having late lunch, and or having an early dinner. So most people and myself go with they call it the 12 to 8 eating window. So you have lunch around 12. If you can delay it, you will, and then you eat dinner and try to finish eating dinner by around 8 o'clock, and then you have no breakfast. And this was quite easy to do. I think most people who've tried it enjoy it. They find quite a fast rate at the start of losing some weight or losing some fat, and I did too. It obviously plateaus, it doesn't go on forever, but you immediately realize that you don't need to have breakfast. It's more out of habit, and you're not really that hungry in the morning. And also you find that you do have more constant energy. So I've kind of looked into a bit more why this was the case, and I soon learnt that a lot of it was due to insulin control, how your body doesn't overproduce insulin by having a large eating window, and because of that your body starts burning fat more and stops storing so much fat. So with this knowledge, I'm like, okay, so how do you get your body to burn fat more often? And the kind of catchphrase is like you put your body in ketosis. So IF was now, in my mind, interlinked with being ketosis in the morning, where your body has been starved or fasted off food for a period of time, and with no carbohydrate intake, your insulin level is low, and your body switches to use fat as a fuel source. And so from probably 7-8 a.m. to when you start eating lunch, you're actually having a high level of fat burning ability. So after that became obvious to me, I decided to look into more about how to extend my ketosis, and that simply is by reducing carbohydrate intake as much as possible. So I'm already sort of like keeping track of my calories. So that's between 2 to 2,400 a day, and I'm doing my intermittent fasting. But to get my calorie intake, I'm still eating a lot of vegetables, and I'm still eating a lot of grains, but I'm just watching my calories. But obviously during my eating window, my insulin would spike up, and of course there's a limit to how much improvement my performance or my body can do with this sort of diet. Then about May 2019, I did a road trip around Sicily on a motorbike with some friends, and I was still eating carbs and grains and what have you. But as Italy's famous, or Sicily's famous for a lot of pasta and a lot of these types of carbohydrate foods, I was very stringent on myself that it had to be something really, really fantastic for me to gorge out on a plate of pasta or ravioli and what have you. So I kept it to a minimum, and really watched myself, because there's a lot of food temptations there. But they do eat a lot of kind of carnivorous food, a lot of meats, a lot of fresh fish, squid. So the food was fresh and it was great, and I was feeling really good about myself. I managed to keep my grain intake to a minimum, and I had a fantastic time doing this. Obviously there's a lot of temptations regarding all my friends on the road trip and what they ate, but I did my best to do my exercises, restrict my breakfast eating, and keep to a reasonable tight eating window. After this trip, I got back to Hong Kong, and around June, I decided to look up more into ketosis, and then I found some links of this carnivore diet, and so I dug a bit deeper, and it sounded wacky at first, as you expect, of eating only animal products. So it's not just meat, it's fish, it's eggs, it's cheese, things that come from an animal and not from the ground. The belief is that a lot of the plants and vegetation that humans eat, a lot of it's not absorbed, not what they call bioavailable, or in very small amounts, and a lot of it's just fibrous, which rips out your gut. And these plants and fibrous foods may be digested by animals which have the right bacteria, the right colon size, the right intestinal tract, the right stomach, or they chew the cud, i.e. they regurgitate food, and they re-chew it and redigest it to really be able to get all the nutrients out. And humans are not necessarily built to do this, but we are built to eat the animals that are built to do this process. So more I dug into it, and I read up, watched a lot of these YouTubes. Some of it was, I wouldn't say fake, but obviously some of it was glanced over a lot of medical topics. Some of it was much deeper than I could actually comprehend. But it seemed like the general trend was that you meant to eat all the animal, because there's a lot of nutrients and vitamins gained from the organs, whether it be the heart, the brain, the lungs, the kidney, and obviously the liver is the big organ which has the most nutritious amount of food per weight. Okay, so I went down this journey. Okay, let's try this for a while, see how long I can go for before A, my taste buds couldn't take any more, or B, I will get sick. Also, another part is that you do have to starve yourself from carbohydrates. Maybe you can take some when you're doing performance stuff, when you really need the kick, but in general, more carbohydrates you have, you do have parts of your body which compete with different vitamins, especially vitamin C. So when you take a high carbohydrate diet, you need a high vitamin C to neutralize that. And if you have a pure carnivorous diet, you don't need as much vitamin C or certain minerals as you originally think you would. So I went down this rabbit hole. People that I read, I'm going to name a few names which I like and see their kind of like positives and negatives of their videos. One of the guys is Sean Baker. He got famous by going on to Joe Rogan. He was he's much more extreme. He does a lot of muscle meat, steaks every day, which sounds great. But it does worry me that he doesn't eat the whole animal. And similar vein, there's Michaela Peterson, who does the lioness diet, which is a very similar high muscle meat kind of diet. One of the most technical guys and well-researched guys is a guy called Frank Tufano. It's quite funny as well. He does have a bit of a chip on his shoulder. he has a go at the other carnivores. He has a beef with a lot of different people. He's had some medical issues as well, but the amount of research he does is quite intense. I do appreciate his videos. Definitely learning about having a lot of protein in your body and not be able to break it down into amino acids, having the right potassium, you have too much iron, how to balance that to make sure your body processes that properly. So he is a very well researched guy and makes very, very good videos, and I do like watching him. But his beef with other people can be his kind of like Achilles heel a bit in his videos. There's another guy called Bobby's Perspective, who's an ex-vegan, and he's gone and become a carnivore. He's quite a spiritual guy as well, and he's really, really enjoyable videos where he debunks a lot of other people's videos. And for health, there's some good doctors like Dr. Berry, Dr. Berg. They're quite good to very common sense kind of doctors, where they tell you, I don't believe in all the stuff they say, especially Dr. Berg. He still likes to push a lot of plants and vegetables in the diet, but he seems quite knowledgeable on kind of ketosis, high-fat diets, low-carb diets, so he's nice to watch. There's another nutter called, sometimes I don't even know how to pronounce his name, Servage or Serige. He eats a pure raw carnivore guy. He eats raw meat and just lumps of butter. He's quite extreme, but he's also very, very well read actually. Despite his appearance, and people just start like taking his first impressions as being a complete nutter, but he is actually. I tried a lot of the stuff he's recommended, and it's worked out very well, especially in putting on weight. I found myself just eating raw eggs and melting butter and just drinking it, and I was able to move from 61 kilos to 66 kilos in 5 weeks. And regarding exercise and stuff like that, there's also Athlean X, which Jeff Cavalier is a great guy for help in part of bodybuilding, or good chiropractic information. He is very weak on nutrition and diet. I think he just has good genes, so he can get away with it. So I generally don't listen to him regarding nutrition and food and what have you. But I do listen to him regarding every time of an injury. He has some great videos on how to compensate or fix certain issues. And there's also another good guy called Tom DeLauer. He's also really helps with way to get around, to get by on a high-fat, low-carb diet with some cheats and with some advice if you're stuck in different places, in fast food restaurants, or you just can't find something in the shop. So I did this for 3 months at first, and then I thought I should check my blood work. So I went to a top clinic in Hong Kong, the Matilda Clinic. I obviously didn't tell the doctor what I've been doing because I didn't want any preconceptions. I just wanted to say, just look at the numbers. So I did stool work, urine, blood work, ran on the machine, did the whole, breathing into, the lung capacity machine, did all the, they took my pulse, and came back a week later, and everything was fine. My cholesterol ticked up a tiny bit, but the ratio before was like 2, and now it's 2.1, made basically no difference. That was the biggest concern. I don't think people get worried in the ratios if you believe the cholesterol ratio stats and standards. I think it's around 5 before alarm bells ring, but that's if you believe that. And funnily enough, the only thing that he mentioned, the doctor, was like, are you sure you're eating enough red meat? Your B12 is a tiny bit low. Ridiculous, eh? Am I eating enough meat? That's all I eat. So I thought, okay, I'm fine. So I just carried on with this intermittent fasting and a high meat or high carnivorous diet, and making sure about half my calories come from fat, about half my calories come from protein. and getting enough minerals, getting enough potassium. I've been doing that since, and now I'm 9 months into this journey, and I'm feeling great, enjoying my food. Don't get hunger pains, don't feel hungry. The fat just makes you feel full, and you can't eat anymore. Once you fall, I don't think about where my next meal is going to come from. My performance is great. My numbers look good. I don't want to take it for granted. So when I do hit 1 year mark, around May or June, I'm going to go for another medical and just has that as a comparison, and check how it evolved from my 3 month mark of being a carnivore. Now, people say, oh, you should have a balanced diet, but you also got to understand what the word balanced means. The balance from American standard diet of 30% carbs, 30% protein, 30% fat, it's something that was given to us, and we just take it as face value. Go, is that a balance? Or I'll even look at the macros as balance. For me, my balance is 45% fat in energy, not in weight, and 45% in protein, and about 5 to 10% in carbs. I like to break it down more like about plants and animals more. Most people actually take around 70 to 80% plants and 20-30% animals. Every time they have a bread, a croissant, a coffee, it's all plant-based. Okay? And we've been sold this plant-based diet. So I think my balance is much more 80 to 90% animal-based. And I do take some sort of vegetation plants in my diet. I do have some cheats. I'm not 100% carnivorous. I'm not like the Sean Baker or the Savridge of this world. So I eat all meats, and I try to eat head to toe as much as possible. Chicken liver is a great source of nutrients, but eat as much of the chicken as possible. The whole cow, pork, tongue, neck, brain, lungs, stomach. I eat all animals, fish, octopus, squid, everything. Eat a lot of eggs. I used to be scared of eating eggs. I don't know, because everyone thinks that you're trying to watch your weight. You shouldn't eat the cholesterol in the middle, the yolk. I'm eating 2 to 4 raw eggs every day, and it's one of the best things I've done. What else? Oh yeah, so my cheats that I have, I do have a love of wine, grape juice. So yes, I do take, as my alcohol intake, wine. I make sure to do no other alcohols. So I gave up beer, gave up gin, vodka, whiskey, gave all those evils up, and only drink red wine. I do like some chocolate. I try to keep it as pure as possible. So a minimum 90%, but around 98, 99, 100% chocolate. I enjoy my coffee. I'd also try to make it bulletproof if I can, to give me some more fats and make it more enjoyable. But I do have 1 to 3 coffees a day. I do have a long working day, 12 hours. But try to keep that to a minimum, but I do enjoy my coffee. It's one of my weaknesses. And regarding snacks, I do have a little weakness for macadamia nuts. So I try to pick macadamias according to Tom DeLauer. It's one of the best nuts out there. It's a proper nut, unlike cashew nuts. It has a high fat content, has a lot of nutrients. So that's my nut of choice. And finally, I do eat some vinegared ginger with my sashimi. This Japanese kind of a thin sliced ginger, gives a little bit of spice. I mean, if you're pure carnivore, you're not going to have so many spices because they're meant to be toxic. But you need some toxins to also give flavor and give jerk your body into that kind of like a little bit of energy or a little bit of pleasure. So whether it be a bit of chili powder or salt, pepper, what have you. So yeah, vinegared ginger is one of my little things that I enjoy. Do I miss anything? Do I miss anything on a carnivore diet? Actually, I thought I missed bread a lot. I don't. I enjoy cheese a lot more now. I feel not guilty about eating cheese because I need the fat now. Instead of using bread, I just use the hard cheese as the bread and use the soft cheese to go on top of the hard cheese, and that will be my cheese snack. The only little thing I do miss is maybe like the kind of glutinous rice that goes with in the Japanese sushi. So I obviously eat a lot of sashimi now, but I do miss that a little bit, especially when you're in Japan, when we go skiing and stuff, and you see everyone eating sushi, and that is one of those little pleasures which I kind of miss. But outside of that, not really. I don't miss noodles. I don't miss toast or bread, any of that stuff. My taste buds have changed a bit, obviously, but it's been a fantastic journey so far. So any other carnivores out there in Hong Kong, I'd like to meet you, and I'd like to talk about it, your experiences, and learn from you as well. Yeah, please send me a message. Thank you.